Hey, okay, so our take this week is to represent and solve multiplication of a whole number and a fraction. So today's activity, if you are able to print these pages, just work along with me. If you are not able to print these pages, then just follow along with me. And you're going to have a few that you're going to need to do on your own. So you can just go back to the PDF and you can just open the link to see the part that you need to do, okay? And you can do it on a piece of notebook paper. In the classroom, I did this on the board, on the whiteboard, so I just drew the model, and then you can just do that on your own paper, okay, if you can't print this. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. I thought this was a really cool explanation. This is actually my first time to do this activity, and I really liked the way that this teacher kind of broke it down for us. So the word problem says Madison made 8 cookies, and so they have 8 cookies here. Here's your model. Madison made 8 cookies. She gave 3/4 of the cookies to her brother. How many cookies did she give away? Okay, so they say first write the problem, 3/4 of 8 cookies. And yesterday in your explanation for your assignment, I let you guys know that of is the same thing as multiplying. So 3/4 times 8. And I showed you how to write that as an equation, okay? So, okay, so there's the problem. 3/4 of 8. We want to know what that is. So the denominator tells us how we will divide the whole number. So your denominator is 4, and that tells you how we're going to divide these 8 cookies. We're going to divide them into 4 groups. We're going to divide these 8 cookies into 4 groups. Okay, one thing that I told them in class was, because they were like, well, how do I know how many are in each group? Well, a cool little trick is take your whole number and divide it by your denominator. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. So you're going to have 2 cookies in each of these groups. So we're going to make 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, and 4 groups, okay? So we have our 4 groups, and there are 2 cookies in each group. So the denominator tells us how we will divide the whole number. That's what we did. We divided the cookies into our 4 groups. The denominator is 4. Circle 4 equal groups of cookies, okay? Sorry, I went a little out of order. Cameron just walked in my room, and it kind of distracted me. Sorry. Okay, so we did that. Now it's the numerator, so that's our top number, 3, tells us how many groups to actually look at, okay? So out of the 4 groups you circled, we are only going to look at 3 groups. So we are going to shade in 3 of the 4 groups, okay? Because that's 3/4 of the 8. Look at the shaded groups. How many cookies are in the 3 groups? That number of cookies is your answer. Well, we have 2, 4, 6. So they wanted to know how many cookies did she give away. She gave away 6 cookies. And I like to just kind of check myself, so I'm going to say 3/4 times, what do we do with our whole number if we're multiplying or dividing it by a fraction? We always put it over 1, and we're not changing the value of that 8 at all. If I were to change this improper fraction to a mixed number, I would say 8 divided by 1. 1 can go into 8 times. So I'm not changing the value at all, okay? You can put any number over 1 and not change the value. Okay, so in class I say, what are the 3 words that I have taught you that you need to do whenever we multiply fractions? And it is multiply straight across. So multiply your numerator times your numerator. 3 times 8 is 24. And multiply your denominator times your denominator, which is 4. And remember, when you have an improper fraction, we always say, what does that fraction bar tell us to do? It means to divide. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So not only did I represent it with a model, I also did the equation, which is what you're going to be doing in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They don't do a whole bunch of models in junior high. This is pretty much what they do, okay? All right, so this was your introduction. Now, let's go ahead and look at this. We have 2/3 of 12. So we want to know what is 2/3 times 12, okay? So this says the denominator is, what is our denominator? Our denominator is 3, which means we need to circle 3 equal groups. The numerator is 2, which means we need to shade in 2 of the groups. Next, we count the number of cookies in the shaded groups, which is how many cookies. That's our goal. We're trying to figure out how many cookies is 2/3 of 12, okay? So I showed them today. I said, kind of look and see, because they have them placed in this nice rectangle. And I know that I'm going to need to have 3 equal groups. So I said, look here and see if you circle these, are you going to get 3 equal groups? You're going to get 4. Well, I'm going to turn it this way now. I'm going to do it horizontally, and I'm going to see if I can get 3 equal groups. And I can. Here's 1 group, 2 groups, and I have 3 equal groups of how many? There are 4 cookies in each of these groups. And then now I need to shade 2 of these groups, because that is representing 2/3. You see it? 1, 2, 3/3, and I'm going to shade 2 of those thirds. Now we just count how many cookies are in the shaded area, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2/3 of 12 is 8. So 2/3 times 12 over 1 equals 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 1 is 3. Remember, this fraction bar tells us to divide. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to pause this video so that you can read 1/6 of 12. And I want you, if you were unable to print this out, I want you to draw 12 cookies similar to these. Make them in 3 rows with 4 in each row. And I want you to actually figure out what the answer is. What is 1/6 of 12? You don't have to write all of this out, but kind of think in your head as you're going along. Okay, the denominator is 6, which means that we need to circle 6 equal groups, okay, and so on. So I want you to pause the video, and I want you to solve this. What is 1/6 of 12? Show it in your model, okay? And then press play whenever you're done to kind of check your answer. Okay, I hope that you paused the video and now you're just checking. The denominator is 6, which means we need to circle 6 equal groups. Okay, we need to circle 6 equal groups. Well, a trick that I think that I told y'all on the first page, I'm not sure, is you can say, what is 12 divided by 6? Because I know that I need 6 groups. Okay, 12 divided by 6 is 2. So that means that I'm going to have 2 cookies in each group. I'm going to have 2 cookies in each group, and that's going to give me 6 equal groups. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have divided my cookies up into 6 groups of 2, okay? The numerator is 1, which means we need to shade 1 group. We need to shade in 1 of the groups. So I'm going to just shade in this group right here. How many cookies did I shade in? I shaded in 2. So that means 1/6 of 12 is 2. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write this out as an equation. and I'm going to solve it to just double check myself. We always put our whole number over 1 to begin, and then my 3 words are multiply straight across. 1 times 12 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6. This tells me that I'm dividing. This is improper. 12 divided by 6 is 2, and that's what I said there. And that's what I showed there. Okay? All right. So I want you to do these 2 problems on your own. So if you need to pause the video to be able to see what the problems are and draw the cookies on your own plate and write out your equation on your own paper. If you can't print, that's fine. That's what I want you to do. They have 15 cookies here. And the first problem is 3/5 of 15. And then your second problem, they have 15 cookies again, and it's 2/3 of 15. So I want you to pause this video, and I want you to figure out what is 3/5 of 15, and I want you to show me your representation with cookies. I want you to draw the 15 cookies like they did here, and I want you to group them and shade them like we did on the other pages. And then after you do that, you can pause the video and come back and check it, or you can do both of them and then check it. In class, what they did is the students worked with shoulder partners and they taught each other. So one kid would do this and teach the other student, and then after that, it was the other student's turn to teach, okay? So, so if you have a parent around and you can teach them, that would be great. I don't think that your parents probably learned this way because I didn't. So we had teachers who just said, this is the way to do it, and this is how you're going to do it. And hopefully you understood that. We didn't get all these models. So teach them something new. If you have a younger brother or sister, teach them. So when they get to me, they already know it. Okay, so pause the video and go ahead and figure those out for me. Okay, so I hope that you paused the video, and I hope that you figured out the answers to what is 3/5 of 15. Okay, so we're going to start with the denominator is 5, which means we need to circle 5 equal groups. This, they kind of have it lined up where you can see if I circled this row right here, then I would just have 3 groups. But if I circle going up and down, if I circle vertically, then I'm going to have 5 equal groups. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to circle these. If you didn't circle them the same way I did, that's fine. I just kind of like order, okay? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal groups. The numerator is 3, which means we need to shade in 3 of these groups. Well, I have 3 in each of these 5 groups. So I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3 groups, okay? And then it says next we count the number of cookies in the shaded groups, which is 3, 6, 9 cookies. So that means 3/5 of 15 is 9. And I hope that you came along on the side of your paper or somewhere near your paper and you went ahead and you worked it out just like this. You put your whole number over 1 and then you multiplied straight across. 3 times 15 is 45. 5 times 1 is 5. This fraction bar means to divide. 45 divided by 5 is 9, which is what I said here, which is what I showed there. There we go. Okay. Now let's look and see what is 2/3 of 15. All right, the denominator is 3, which means we need to circle in 3 equal groups. And if I really don't know how many are going to be in each group, I can say 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I'm going to have 5 cookies in each of these 3 groups. I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5, 10, 15 cookies, and I've split them into 3 equal groups, giving each group 5 cookies. Okay? The numerator, so my top number is 2, which means we need to shade in 2 of the groups. So here's my first group shaded, I have 5. Here's my second group shaded, and I have 10. So 2/3 of 15 equals 10. And I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to remember that of means to multiply. I'm going to put my whole number over 1. That's my first step. My second step is to multiply straight across. So 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 1 is 3. This is an improper fraction, and this bar means to divide. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So I kind of told them in class to think of it also as, if we have 15 students in our class and 2/3 of them are absent, how many kids are absent? 10. Okay? All right, so what you're going to do now is you have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 more pages in that PDF. And I want you to do them independently. So if you can't print these papers off, that's okay. Just have it pulled up on your computer and use a piece of computer paper or a piece of notebook paper and solve this. You need to draw the 20 cookies and then show me how you're representing it. Eric made 20 cookies. He gave 2/5 of the cookies to his grandma. How many cookies did he give to his grandma? So as you can see, they don't have it broken down anymore. Okay, they're not breaking down how many, what your denominator is, what your numerator is, and what that means. Okay. So yeah, basically that's what you're doing. And I also want to see that you set up the multiplication problem. So not only are we worried about representing, our TEK is also just solving. And this is a big deal because that's what you're going to be doing in junior high. So we're going to say 2/5 of 20. So 2/5 times 20. So I want to see that you're representing it as well as doing it as just like an equation. Okay. And then you're going to come down here and it says Trent made 18 cookies. He gave 5/6 of the cookies to his Valentine. How many cookies did he give to his Valentine? Okay, so I want you to do that page on a piece of notebook paper or on this. And then I want you to figure out the answer to this. Use the model. And then I also want you to do these 2 problems. Okay, and that is your assignment for the day for math. So as soon as you're done with your work, if you will snap a picture, and you can either text it to me or you can put it in Google Classroom. Either of those is fine. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. And yeah, if you need anything, just let me know.